Hello, my name is Emily and I'm an art school student. I'm currently working on my graduation project, which is due in 2 days. The project itself is done, but it's not only about the project, but also about the written part of the project, marketing strategies and the presentation. And I thought that the marketing strategies will have time until the presentation, which is in 3 weeks. But yeah, I made a mistake and they're already due together with the practical part, the project, which is due in 2 days. So this is a bit rushed, but it's okay, I think, because having less time is better for my perfectionism. So I don't plan all the nice things and then get intimidated and don't do them, because in 2 days I have much less time and therefore much lower expectations towards myself. So yes, marketing strategies, part of them are this video. And we have to pick 3. So I picked postcards, it's the classic. Oh wait, let me talk about my project first, about what I'm doing. So this is Magyk, written by Angie Sage. It's a childhood book of mine. I love the story, I love the characters. It takes place in a whimsical, medieval, fantasy-inspired world. Yes, I especially fallen in love with how relatable the characters are and how awesome the world is. It's a world that I'd like to live in personally. Oh, and while reading this, I've had all the nice pictures inside my head and I really wanted to paint them. But when I tried to paint them, they didn't look at all like what I was expecting, and I was really disappointed with myself. I read this when I was 9, by the way. And then by the end of school, in the 12th class, we have to do a project. So I wanted to illustrate Magyk, and I think I did a good job, but it wasn't how I wanted it to be. But still, it was a huge step of improving my art. And then after I graduated from school, I went to art school, and my plan was that at the end of art school I want to attempt to illustrate this book again with all the things that I've learned. And yes, now it is the end of art school, and still I think well, I haven't accomplished as much, but I've learned a lot, but I just have unrealistically high expectations towards myself and am therefore disappointed over and over again. But now by the end of this, I've come to terms with it and realized that, well, I just have to work on my expectations, because it's not that bad what I did. Of course, I didn't illustrate a whole, how many pages does it have? Over 500. A 500-page book within half a year. Yes, I think it has a lot to do with the time span thinking of my childhood. So when I was a child, I thought half a year I can do everything within half a year, because it's such a long time. But it is a long time, but it's not an infinite amount of time. So yes, I just have to update my way of thinking about time. What I've actually planned to do for this video, when I thought that I would have more time, was that I wanted to put it all nice into a binder that I already made half a year ago. So I have all the things of my project nice and compact together. However, I didn't have time to make this yet. So what I plan to do instead for this video is to just make this folder on camera with you. Okay, so this is the pile that I'm working with, and I will now put this all off the table and then start with sorting them from earliest to latest. Hello, Editing Emily here. So I planned that the making of the binder would be the main part of the video. However, I flipped through all of my work beforehand, and it ended up taking much more time than the actual making of the binder. So this will be the main part of my video, just so you don't get confused. Okay. Oh, it's all in German. Okay, for the non-German speakers, it's just the title. How much time I had for this was 3 months. My school, I was in 12th grade, and it was from 2018 and 19. The contents, and then I just wrote about the whole progress. What I did with this book was that instead of working with the text and the images together, I drew or painted all the images separately. So I didn't have any layout, I just painted the pictures. So with this project, also now that I'm looking back at it, what I really learned was to work on just painting the pictures that were running through my head. Because these pictures are like surprisingly unsubstantial, even though I think, okay, I know how this looks like in my head, I can now paint it. All the little details, like which material is this from which time is it, what color are the clothes, and did the author write about it, they aren't clear because I didn't think in particular about it, and it was a challenge to realize that I actually don't really know what things like. It's like in a dream where you think, okay, everything is normal, but as soon as you start to think about details, it all becomes unclear. Yes, this is not from me, of course. It's from Jim Kay. I use it as an example how he turned imagination into a tangible painting. Here's a short version of the book, also what the book is about. I asked friends and relatives in my family and surroundings who reminded me of certain characters if I can paint them or take photos and then paint them. And this is a character sheet for Jenna that I made back then. And she is based off of the little sister of someone at my school. I also made an overview for the chapters of the book and figured out certain images that I wanted to paint. And then I did the thumbnail, and then I used a picture from Pinterest and a screenshot from Zelda Breath of the Wild, to help me as a reference. And then I painted it. You'll see that later. One of my main problems was that I had a certain way of painting, so I didn't, the pictures in my head were always shot from a certain perspective, and the person set a certain size, and realized that after only a few paintings, but that made me want to switch it up. So I also made some paintings from very up close and from more far back. Yes, another reference picture with my little brother. Of course, I mentioned that I didn't have enough time. My Fazit. I don't know actually how you, I should stop saying actually that often. I don't know what it's called in English. I've learned a lot. At first I didn't want to have to do anything with illustration afterwards because it was so stressful and I was quite disappointed, but yes. Then I realized no, it was just too emotional and too tired. And here are the paintings. So this is from where I also showed the thumbnails, illustration 1. Also the first one that I did, I worked linear as something that I've now really changed up. I show it to you later, but I've put almost all of my time into storyboard and didn't work linear. Here I worked linear and only had paintings in this format. But yes, this is the first painting that I made, and I'm still really happy with it. It's a good one, and it's also really was a really important step for improving my style. Second one, based off of a photo of my mom and me. I'm not too happy with this one. Yes. Third one, again, I really like this. Not all that accurate when you think of the book, but still quite atmospheric, and I didn't have a reference. It already started to challenge me with how I can make these illusions in my head or these thoughts in my head more tangible. Father of a friend. Let's flip through a bit more quick because the time. Oh, this was the first painting, so with this not, but with all the others, oh, this also not, but I always had the characters were the same size, the angle was quite similar, and with this one I chose a more, or my point of view is more far back. So yes, here I decided to change it up, and then the next one, oh, not this one, not this one. This one is more close, so yes, I painted them a bit later to mix up my perspectives. One of my more favorite paintings from that time. However, it's not accurate to the book. It was quite difficult to find all the details hidden in the text. So this is the hut, Zelda's hut, and it's made from wood, and it's written in the book even though it's hidden, and it's in winter and there's snow and it looks cold, but it looks like the stone is quite modern, the carpet is quite modern, the cloth is a bit too thin. So yes, there were some attempts, but it's more painted from my head and my personal experiences and memories, and not as much from the book. I also changed medium, so this is with colored pencils instead of watercolors. I didn't do that with my graduation project, I only painted in watercolors. Really like that one, but still not quite accurate. Something about this was off too, but I don't remember it, so it's not that important, but it's the little details. Septimus. The fabric is so modern, it's something I tried to do better. Another portrait. Landscape. Again, it was, the atmosphere is really fitting for a midwinter, but it's with trees and all, and the place where there are not as many trees, it's the marshes. But yes, still atmospheric, but not accurate. Another medium again, with ink this time. Oh, I painted this, it was almost done, and then I splattered my ink above it, so it was all ruined and I had to paint it again. That was a dim moment. Another painting. Again, the cloak, it's so modern, it's so modern. This is the last one. Again, another medium on another paper, colored pencils on this brown baking paper. Septimus is based off of the little brother of a friend. Yeah, like the thank you, Danksagung at the end of any book. And some sources. And yeah. Feedback for my presentation. I was so nervous. Oh, the expose. It's all handwritten. I like to write everything by hand. And I always had colored ink. It was really fun. That's it with my 12th grade project. Okay, so now it's 5 years later. I've learned about the importance of a storyboard. So what I now did to include all the things that I've learned was that I would start all over again, read the whole book, and then I wrote down the content for this book for each chapter on my iMac, on my computer. And based off of short descriptions for each chapter, I started scribbling. So I have them all in here. I have one page for each chapter based off of that short descriptions. I've scribbled down first layout ideas for each chapter, so I made some sketches and scribbled all the things that scratched my brain. So I looked for items that were interesting, for points of view that would enhance the feeling of that scene. Yes, characters that were important, maybe characters that make their first appearance. Also, of course, always in the combination with the text. Or also items here, objects. yes, just all that was important. I'll show you everything, why not? And yes, I already realized that it's a lot. But again, it was, I couldn't just do one chapter because I wanted the book to, or the paintings to be part of a whole thing. And back then, when I did this, I still thought that I could do the whole book in that short time. But yes, I couldn't. I mean, theoretically, because, you know, I can finish a painting in a day when I want to, but at what cost? It's really, it's not sustainable. It doesn't work. Especially not over the course of half a year. And I also kind of knew that, even though I still told myself I can do it all. And then my body started reacting, so I didn't have my period for a month, so it stopped for 1 month. And it was really irregular for several months. Because it was the subconscious stress. It really put me down. And then it wasn't only the project, it was also some other personal things. And then we went to a, not the funeral, but it was like the 1 year after a friend has passed of us, of my boyfriend and me. And this, of course, was also quite sad and stressful. And on the way to that funeral, funeral anniversary, oh, that sounds wrong. But yes, to that event, we had to rush. We were in a hurry. And I really wanted to get the bus. My boyfriend already was on the other side of the street because he came after me. And I ran over the street without looking, and I almost got hit by not just one but 2 cars. Everything went well, but that was like a wake-up call that I have to stop thinking about my project. I need to chill and accept that I can't do all 49 chapters for this book. And it was awful, but I'm really thankful that it happened because it put things into perspective. Because, yes, if I die because of that, I can't finish it after all. But I don't want to die, of course. So yes, there are more important things, and it's time for me to grow up and become more reasonable about my expectations towards myself. So now it's almost done. I hope some of you found this interesting. It's really messy, but I still think that it's good to see everything. And sometimes I didn't know what to draw, and then I just painted something that I wanted to paint anyways. And it was really good because sometimes things didn't work in one place, but then I could recycle them for a part later or earlier in the book. Yes. Final side. And then I also, not much because I usually scribbled my ideas down just where I was, but I also had this page for my ideas. Here I worked a little on the color concept for the different characters. Colors are important for me to convey the character of a certain person. Also materials, like Zelda is colorful and has a lot of patchwork designs and quilts. Oh, and here were some more motifs where I didn't know where to put them, but they could come in handy at some point. So I wrote everything down. That's only one more place to write things down. I have way more notes than that. Okay, so this was the storyboard, the first draft. Okay, so the next step, I had to somehow get from my pencil scribbles into colors, and it was intimidating. So something that I came up with was this It's fine, it's fine. You're safe. You're safe. Is this color chart. So I gave myself a stripe, or the place of a stripe, to intuitively paint the colors down, or the feeling that I had for each chapter. So it's really intuitive. It's not accurate or whatsoever, but it really helped me to get from black and white into color. I had to force myself a little because I started overthinking again, but what really helps is having time limits. And yes, here the storyboard begins. Hope you can see it well. So I did all analog with pencils and watercolors on watercolor paper. And I already started to work with the text. In the meantime, I also put the text I downloaded it and then I layouted the whole thing, which also took a while. But then it was really good because then I knew, okay, what text size do I have, where on what page happens what, and also a general overview of how many illustrations I would actually need. So sometimes I cut several illustrations because I ended up not needing them, but then I could use them in another place. So that's really good. Just flip through this again. I put 2 chapters on each side. So this is one chapter, this is one chapter, because otherwise I wouldn't have had enough space. I also always try to mix up my ideas. And I also used these notes because, you know, it's really a lot. And I also wanted to ensure that the mood would be consistent. So here, for example, the whole book is quite maritime or seaside inspired. But here in particular, so I wrote it down to not forget that this is the vibe that I want to have for these sides. Here, a storm is coming and it's getting darker, so I wrote with this arrow that, okay, as time continues, I want to make my illustrations darker. Yes. And yeah, here is the last one. Some leftover paper things and sticky notes. Okay, and then the next part was that I photographed them all and put them all into the document. Was again quite some work, also because I have to play around with the text a lot. Okay, so when I had it all put into the layout, I printed it out so that I could see how they would look folded. Okay, let me try to put this in. Oh, this was here and here. It's so many pages. I've also laid them all out on my floor at one point, which was really good because then I could see like, oh, okay, there are too many portraits. There's this and that missing. So I can highly recommend it if you should ever be in a similar position. And yes, so you can get a feeling. I don't want to put them all out now, but I'll put some photos. So it was really cool because like this, it's like a mini book. this is the first page, and then you flip it, and the second page, then you flip it again, and this is the beginning of chapter 2, and it's good to see how they will work also with the middle fold, because on the screen it's all flat. I worked with InDesign, by the way, so yes, it's way harder to imagine how it will look in real life. Yes, this was one of my favorite pages. I'm sad that I didn't get around painting it. Maybe I paint some more of them. It's so much work, but I would love to finish this book one day and hold it in my hands. Okay, what is here? Oh yes, something more that I didn't do as much as I wanted to. Character sheets. I started with just painting the characters of the story a lot, but I didn't have the time for this. So after a while I realized, okay, it's better to focus on the paintings and stop the character doodling. But yes, I did this for Septimus, also with his clothes, with all the notes and details of what he would wear and why he would wear it and what story his clothes tell. Some sketches of Jenna, I hope you can see them well. And yes, here's of Nico, the brother of Jenna, or half-brother of Jenna. Some more Nico, Simon, another brother. And here I started, you know, for the hunter, he's another character. I didn't have a particular reference for him. So I started to think, okay, maybe I can combine other faces that remind me of, or that give off a similar vibe than the hunter, and then make the hunter out of it. But it's really difficult. I'm not practiced enough for that yet. So I would instead wait until I find someone who actually looks like the hunter and then ask him if I can take pictures, or if it's a movie person that I can just use as reference. Ah yes, for another character, Dom Daniel, but yes, once again, didn't end up painting him. Some sketches for Marsha, Overstrand. Marsha I actually used, but I'm not as happy with how she looks, with how her face looks. Something else that I would work on. Oh, and for her clothes. It was surprisingly hard for me to come up with an outfit for her. Also something that I want to improve and repaint. But yes, we'll come to that later. Here are some print examples. I won't show them here. Just tested out different sizes and so on. And another thing that I did with all the places, so the keeper's cottage, for example, I realized, I thought, oh yeah, I know she lives on an island, should be fine. Let's just paint an island, but it's actually so important with how the island looks, and of course I want to paint it the correct way, how the author Angie Sage described it and wanted to look like, or sees it like. So yes, through all the books that I have, I just searched for clues and then I wrote them all down, so I have an idea of what the island looks like and where the cottage is placed. I also wanted to do that for the castle, but it ended up not being too important for the illustrations. Another more detailed page because it ended up being important. About the Magyks, where I also thought, of course I know how they look, but I didn't, and then I had to really research so I could have a vague idea. Yes, also some more sketches for the castle and the wizard tower. Okay, and then I started finally to paint. I also started with the first illustration because I already knew quite clearly what I wanted to paint for this. But even though I already knew it quite clearly, I still was intimidated because it's such a huge project. There was so much time going into this already, and with watercolor, with most analog media, but with watercolor in particular, you can't change things as easy as with digital. I still wanted to paint with watercolors because I feel like I can convey emotions the best with them. But yes, it was a bit scary to start. So let's go quickly through them. second one, only for half the page, so yes, I only painted half the page. I was quite unhappy with this one too, the one right below. But what really helped me to not lose my momentum was to just keep going, because I told myself I can always come back to these paintings later. And it really helped. I actually didn't come back to any of them, but it doesn't matter because it showed me how much my brain just stopped me. So yes, it's really good to just keep working. Oh, sorry, I'm really tired. Yes, for this I used AI to make the picture of someone look older and then use it as a reference. I was quite happy with this. I was so intimidated, but I think this is the one where I was surprised that it actually turned out so good. Here, this is a follow-up painting, so it's supposed to be like this. Yes, it's good. Still missing something. Here's missing a dark cloud over the ship, but the atmosphere was good and still fitting, so I kept it like this. This I painted within a day, I think, because I really wanted to have a painting for my cover for my written part, but I didn't plan in enough time, but I really wanted it, so it's quite messy, but I like it because it fits the atmosphere, and yes, I was quite happy with this one. Also with this one. Oh, so here, I don't know if you can still see it, but I added some salt for some salt effects. And it turned out really cool. I want to continue working with more unusual material like salt and watercolors. And this is already the last painting that I did. Yes, it's fine. Oh, and this. Oh, sorry. Just some more paintings for my trailer. I hope I can finish them also until the day after tomorrow. Some clouds. Something I really realized with this was, once again, how good it is when you have an idea to just paint it, because you'll use it so often in your project. With these clouds, for example, I was hesitant to paint them because I thought, oh, I will only use them in my Instagram trailer. Why should I paint them? But I ended up using them for my book as well, for the pre-paper. Yes, things will get used. It don't always have to know why you need something. When you have the idea to paint it, just paint it, and it will really come in handy later. And yes, Magyk and another background. And these are two persona designs. Personas are imaginative people that you create your product for. Oh, sorry. We can do this. I'll have a snack soon. It'll be good. So now let's quickly flip through my written project. So this is the cover that I painted so last minute, and it turned out that it was worth it. And that last minute energy awakes some unknown ideas. This is interesting. It just shows the progress that I also talked about. From book to the short description of each chapter, to the stripes that I used, the pencil sketch, the watercolor sketch. Then I did photo mesh, and then the final illustration. Okay. Contents. What I want to do, so turn the book into or make like an anniversary edition of the book that it really deserves. It would be awesome if a talent like Jim Kay would illustrate this. I mean, he probably won't, but you can dream. The why, so because I already did it and I want to improve it. Some marketing analysis, where I want to position my book, my target group, Franzi and Olli, with some character traits and which Sinus milieu they are in. I made a little collage of the room, of what their room could look like. Then my progress again, storyboard. Oh, I didn't talk about the typography that I'm using. I love the typography. It's from Alessio Delena. I really like it. It has a classic look, but still with a modern twist, with some unexpected details that really made me happy. I never was into typography before, but this is awesome. I already talked about this. Yes, the printed version and then finally painting. This is also interesting. It's all the materials that I've used. And these were the only two paintings apart from that one that were finished while I made this. But yes, the written part of the project, we had to hand it in 2 or 3 months earlier. So it's only to have a general idea of what our project is about. It doesn't have to contain the finished thing. The storyboard with the text. The original text, of course. It's a long storyboard. Oh, sorry. I've seen it a lot of times already. Oh, this is also something that I really wanted to paint. Hopefully one day. It's one of those, I had the book Magyk. My mom gave it to me when we drove to our skiing holidays. So I read it at night under my blanket with a flashlight to not wake up the others. Because we're all, skiing is so expensive. So we shared all a room and my brother and I slept on thin mats on the floor, and it was all quite cramped, but it was awesome because skiing, I love skiing. I miss it so much. But yes, it's one of those very early pictures that I really wanted to paint, that lived from the beginning when I read the book, and I always associated with that skiing trip that we had. And the night sky that you can see in the mountains when it's dark and calm and with the snow glowing in the dark. Here's an example for my character design approach. This is the little brother of the friend whom he is based on. Some materials and vibes, also some items that I associate with him that are also described in the book. The colors that I would give him. Here are the colors that I would give him in the first book. They are more dull, except the red for his head. And these are the colors that I would give him in the second book when, Septimus, the protagonist, finds out who he is and he gets more confident and is developing more of his own personality. And yes, the sketches again that you've already seen. For the book cover, again, it was really important to me that the first cover that I designed would fit in with all the other 7 books, so I made scribbles for all 7 books. And it's because the book itself is placed in a medieval fantasy world. I wanted to make it historically inspired. So my plan is to have it covered in linen, and then the print would be with silver foil. And my communicative advertising steps that I would make: postcards, YouTube video, which I'm filming right now, and an Instagram mini trailer, which I will hopefully finish in a shorter version, because again, I have 3 weeks less than I thought I would. And thank you, the sources, and that I did it for myself. Okay, and now, last but not least, the printed book, my graduation thingy. Yes, I'm happy with it, even though it's not what I planned, but you know, I've learned so much. And even though it's not a complete 300-page linen-bound novel, which is so unrealistic, I forgot the beginning of my sentence. But yes, it's fine. It's fine. I even did my own fake ISBN. If you can see it. It's from the Magyk Verlag. It translates to wannabe publisher. ISBNs are so complicated, so random, but it was really fun. I couldn't just place a random number. Really, I wanted it to have more, a story behind it to make sense, even though it doesn't make as much sense. So yes, here is how I ended up using the clouds besides from the trailer. The dirty cover. In Germany, it's called Schmutztitel. It's like the simple version of this, the text only. Yes, the contents, what it contains. Yes, it's not. At first, my concept was to create this book. I didn't, so now my concept is that I create like a little flyer that you can give to people at book meetups or so. Or a publisher, so they know what they could expect. Cover made with AI, obviously. Yes, the storyboard again. Here's how I also put down how I labeled them. They all have their own number, because otherwise I would have gone crazy with the amount of images. And yes, but you already know this, of course. And here I've made an overview of the pages that I painted. It's also in the original format that I've planned. My format is 25 × 20 centimeters. So yes, this is actually how it could look like. Also keep in mind that this is Leimbindung, so it's all held here in one place and it does this. And of course, when I would have printed it like a real book, I would have done a binding that would completely open and lay flat on the table. So not this, but not make this, but this. Yes, just keep this in mind. Not as much would be hidden here in the crease, in the fold. I really like how the salt translates here into the print, to the digital version. Here the dragon boat in the layout. Last page with Septimus. The thank you, and yes, last page in the back. Okay, and now I try to, oh no, wait, second. I already printed the postcards. They're not as spectacular. If I have enough time, I want to do a silver foil version. I didn't want to spend as much money on a silver foil print, but maybe I can DIY one so I can show it at my art school as an example. But these are the cards. They're quite fun. This is, you can't see it on camera, I think. It has slight glitter on it. Then I have here these normal ones. On these I want to try if the silver foil would work. And then, which I like the most, wasn't my idea, it was the idea of one of my teachers. This is printed on glow-in-the-dark paper. It looks really cool. It's like this one, the kind of gimmick that makes you happy as a child, and even now, of course. So yes, glow-in-the-dark postcards are cool, and I haven't seen them that often, and it really works with emoji. So yes, these are my postcards, so at least one of my marketing plans is kind of working. And now I try to put this all into this thing, so I have it nice and together. Yeah, I actually found a good camera angle for my desk work that I'll be doing in a second. But first I got myself a cake and apple and a cocoa tea for a needed sugar rush, so I can stay up a bit longer and finish this. So okay, so the first thing that I want to do is, because I want to get my drawings out of this folder, I want to have it empty for my next project, whatever it will be. So I went to Woolworth and I got some of these clear punched pockets. While I was at Woolworth, I also got this shirt. I just transfer them into these and then into this, and I watch a video and probably talk to you in a second again. Oh no, wait, I want to time-lapse this one. So don't stop recording. Oh, wow, is it okay? Yeah, okay. Hello, here is voiceover Emily. Yes, I've found it quite boring, or usually find it quite boring to watch time lapses without anyone talking, just music. It can be chill, but I prefer it with a voice, even though I'm quite awkward at talking and I don't really know what to say right now. These punched folder foils things were quite difficult to open, so I always had to move my hands like a fly, get the pages in. The video that I'm watching is from Simply Libby. I've discovered her channel recently and it's one of those really cozy channels that I personally like to watch while working. Yes, just someone doing their things, being productive while I'm productive. I'm not less tired than yesterday because I've had to edit out so many amps in this video. And it's over, or the raw footage that I had was over 2 hours long. And I say all the time, even more than I thought. I mean, I already knew that I say it a lot, but this was even worse. But yes, at least now I know exactly what the shape of the wavelength for an amp looks like, at least from me. Yeah, why not? So I have my deadline tomorrow and I can't wait to just chill afterwards. It will be so good. I also really need to clean my room. Maybe I put that right into the next video. It's been really fun. I'm really thankful that I've finally had to push myself to start recording and get used to these video editing apps again. Not apps, programs. I'm editing this with Premiere Pro and it's been really fun and not as bad as I thought. Oh, wait. And yes, this whole thing also gave me the push to finally order myself a microphone and a tripod I bought at MediaMarkt. Also, what you've seen at the intro, the fairy lights and the wall shelves, all the things that I've been procrastinating because of my perfectionism, and now with the deadline these things that were done in a hurry work out after all. But yes, usually I'm not spontaneous at all. I was talking about this glue, Fixogum. It's okay. There was this, we had a workshop at art school about collage and stuff. The thing was that, you know, art school students can be quite sensitive. It's not ideal, but that's just how it is. And what she did was that, you know, we were working and she made her rounds and gave us helpful advice, but, you know, it was quite obvious advice, and we were all working on our project and it was all far from done, and she said things, but not in a helpful way, but you know, when someone explains you something obvious and then at the end she was like, oh yeah, it turned out good because I told you to do this and that, and yes, it was quite annoying. And she also told us that we have to have this Fixogum glue, and so someone at our class went to the store after class, and you know, most of us also have to work because it's a private school and it costs money. It's a really good school, but you know, it's normal that most of us have at least a mini job. And she was so busy and she had so much to do, but she still went to the store and bought the stupid glue. And the next day when we had this glue, she was like, or the teacher said, yeah, cool that you have it, you don't actually need it, but of course you can work with it too. We felt quite verarscht. So yes, that's the story behind this glue. It's useful for me now though, so why not? Oh, but it was expensive. It was like 10 euros per tube. Yeah, so what the fuck? Yeah. Anyways, okay, I think I start talking again. So, bye bye. Okay, I think I'll stop recording because I'm not sure how much iPhone storage I have left. But I'll just continue putting all these things together, cutting it out, and then tomorrow in daylight I will show you a flip through and give you some final thoughts. So yes, see you then. Good morning, it's the next day. The next morning I've put everything into this, except for the paintings, of course, they are larger scale, and I have this for them. They all fit nice and snug. Okay, so everything fit in here. It's not the most elegant solution because I just put them all into these clear foils, but I was too tired to think of anything else, and it works. And if I have time later, then of course I can still come back and yes, find nice, more creative, crafty solutions for it. So I'm really happy it all fits perfectly inside here. And let me quickly show what's inside of it. So I have my final project. You know what's in there. I've showed it to you yesterday. My written part, also of course my printed 12th grade project. And now here first, because I haven't printed the, how do you say, Zusammenfassung. I should have looked it up. Let me look it up. Summary is the word I've been searching. I haven't printed the summary of the chapters yet, so I'll start with the scribbled pencil storyboards, and I have put 10 chapters in one foil. 1 to 10, 10 to 20, and so on. Then I have my intuitive paintings for all the chapters. And then my storyboard, the same as before. Yes, and then I have the printed storyboard with the text already. So here chapter 1 to 10, here's 10 to 20, and so on. Oh no, okay, that's not ideal. Need a better solution for this. These printed things are so flimsy. I mean, it will sit in my cupboard anyways, but still, it's not ideal that they fall out. And I have a foil for some ideas. I've cut them and glued them together so they are more compact. Here for the places that I wanted to paint that are relevant for my storyboard, which is not much. And here I have my character scribbles. So here the color concept, Septimus on this page, Jenna, Simon, and Nico, and Marsha. And yeah, some more that I didn't really continue to work on. And here are I quickly show them. Just some different sizes printed out. So this is 10 point and this is 8 or 9 point. I don't have them all actually. I think I've thrown some away already. But you know, they are just black and white, so you know if the text is readable. Because on the computer it's sometimes a bit confusing. And then I also have some print examples for the colors from my copy shop. I printed everything at my local copy shop because they are really friendly, and if I would have done a real book, I would have done it online because it's way cheaper and you have also more options. But now with the shorter version, it was just way simpler and not that much more expensive to just print it here. And I had more time for my final paintings. So yes, just, you know, I was surprised, but some people don't know that every printer looks different. So you never know how your colors will come out. But yes, I wasn't that specific about the colors. So of course I didn't want it to be completely different than my painting, but I've just come to terms with the fact that, especially with the time that I have, I won't have perfect colors, and that is totally fine with me. So this is all just some fabric scraps that I had flying around. And I wanted to sew in some pockets, but it just wasn't possible yesterday evening anymore. This is it. And I'm really happy. I won't do a video clip where I put it in the cupboard and find a home for it, because my cupboard is very messy and I don't think anything more will fit into it without everything falling out. So maybe also another time. My room is quite messy at the moment, which is fine, it's authentic. Maybe for another video, like organize my room together with me. They are also a video format that I love to watch. Yep.